Dangote has opened a lot of eyes that the things that were seeming impossible or out of reach are really within reach. And that genes that has been broken, I think to a very large extent, we transformed the way things have been done. For people like Femi to come out the other day to say, oh, with the way things are going with the Dangote, now that we are fully operational at 650 barrels per day, it means that dollar is likely to go to 1,000. And don't forget that Dangote is actually also expanding to 1.4 million barrels daily, and that's massive. So that's actually the game changer. And I know that as we are talking about Bar coming on, he was contemplating 250. And I think he must be thinking of doing more than 250 right now.
This is Soup Business Landscape. Now, Nigeria and Africa spent over $120 billion on energy imports, despite holding some of the world's largest oil and gas reserve. Nigeria and Africa continue to depend heavily on energy import spending. Now, on refined products and related hydrocarbon services. This disclosure was made by Heineken Lokobiri, that's the Minister of Petroleum Resources for Oil, at the ongoing Nigeria International Energy Summit in Abuja on Tuesday. Lokobiri said the trend underscores structural gaps in refining capacity and value addition across the continent. He stressed the need for greater investment in local processing infrastructure to reduce import dependence and retain more value within African economies. Dangote is up. We're looking at BOA by this time next year, we should be seeing some positivities. We have some other modular refineries in Nigeria. Dear Doc, they say charity begins at home. Do you see a possibility of Nigeria being the hub of refined product for, let's say, West and East Africa, before we now start talking about the other tail end of Africa?
You see, Dangote has opened a lot of eyes that the things that were seeming impossible or out of reach are really within reach. And that genes that has been broken, I think to a very large extent, we transformed the way things have been done. For people like Femi to come out the other day to say, oh, with the way things are going with the Dangote, now that we are fully operational at 650 barrels per day, it means that dollar is likely to go to 1,000. And don't forget that Dangote is actually also expanding to 1.4 million barrels daily, and that's massive. So that's actually the game changer. And I know that as we are talking about Bar coming on, he was contemplating 250. And I think he must be thinking of doing more than 250 right now. And these are all things that we will see in the days and the year to come that is going to actually change the energy dynamics globally. At least we can say for the first time in the history of Nigeria, we're not just actually shipping out just crude. I will see Dangote also selling aviation fuel to the United States. And this is beautiful news that's ongoing across OSPHERE. And I support, like you said yesterday at the Health Forum meeting, government has done a lot in terms of reform that they have done. But what government now need to do is to ensure that those who are participating locally are protected such a way that foreigners will come and cut them off ground. So I believe that in a very few years to come, a lot is going to change. There's also a massive progress in the Nigeria-Moroccan gas pipeline that's getting into Europe. So which means, again, we are tapping into the gas facility that we can ship overseas. So this is the hub of energy, and I think that by the year 2030, Africa would have come of age.
2030, that is 4 years from now. We are putting numbers to it. He said 2030, let's reduce it. 4 years from now. Okay, the ninth, let me come to you.
Yes.
Now let's talk about Nigeria now, not just Africa. If we are looking forward to 2030 and Africa becoming the hub, are the people preparing themselves capacity-wise to take charge of what is happening on their lands? Or are we still going to wait for importation of expatriates?
Well, like Dr. rightly said, with what Dangote is doing, the $400 million deal with XCMG to expand his capacity into 1.4 million barrel, it should make Nigeria or position Nigeria as a net exporter of refined fuel. That aside, we also have BOA coming in. Yesterday I asked one of our analysts that can we have more of Dangote, and he said yes, BOA is there, and some other people are still coming in.
Ogun State is building Chimaroke, Namani, and Co.
One is Ekiti or Akure.
Ondo is also building. Abia is building.
So if all goes well, I think even before 2030, we should start seeing the improvement. And the improvement is that we should be able to locally service and feed the local consumers.
Human capacity.
Human capacity now. When Dangote Refinery came into existence, there was this report that came out that he was not hiring Nigerians. And he came out to also say that there was a whole lot they discovered, or there was lack of human capacity or human capital in that particular field, petrochemicals. And so he had to source outside. And I think that also speaks to our education sector. In the universities, how many courses do we have that offer this kind of, research courses and all that? We need to look into that, because from the university, if we can get them direct from the university, it will create jobs. Because if Dangote is looking into expanding, BOA is coming up, where is he going to hire the human capital for? It's supposed to be from our country, but if we do not have enough experts, it's a business, a private business. You will have to look outside. So I think we should also go back into our education sector. These universities, are they offering courses in petrochemicals and the likes? That's where we need to also look at.
While we are looking at that, there was a particular report that the major universities in the United States are sending students to Dangote Refinery directly, whereas Nigerian universities are still waiting for students to go find their way to go do IT and all that. We have University of Texas servicing the oil industries in Texas. We have the same thing for NASA, direct universities involvement. Same thing with Harvard, same thing with Oxford, servicing pharmaceutical companies directly. Should our universities be waiting for government to write policies for them to at least emulate what other universities like Covenant are doing?
We can have internships also.
I don't think that's the way it works. Exactly the other way around.
Okay.
Where industries, the town and the gown come to the table. Because what should happen, which is actually what our big men are not doing,
okay,
or the captains of our industries are not doing, is actually for them to own chairs
in
in universities.
But some do.
So what it is that you have a Dangote professorial chairs in all faculties of petroleum engineering. What that will mean is that you are empowering the institutions to focus on research that are peculiar to your operations.
Okay.
That's the way it's done. So he's not just about looking for people who have capacity. No. He is empowering the departments that are into what he does and funding the professors there to do research that will proffer solution to the problem that they currently face as a company.
Okay.
Or where his mind should be. The bankers should do the same. The manufacturers should do the same. So that collaboration between the town and the gown is what transforms. So which means as students are passing out of these universities, because the school is directly linked to them, they go to the factory to go see the problem firsthand and then articulate solution to those problems. That's why you see when you go to universities abroad, there's a whole lot of funding that is coming from company. And we don't have that in Nigeria, except the government levied funding of the education tax, which of course we take from government to fund TED fund. But I think beyond that, companies should be able to approach the university to say, these are our concerns. You are raising capacity for us. But this is the problem we want to solve. And this is how we want to channel your curriculum so that it can address some of the problems that we have. Because that interaction is not taking place. So you find that universities are just sitting down and they are thinking. So even when students want to do projects or write theses or dissertations, they are not really looking at industry problems that they can face because they are not exposed to it. So this is a problem. And I think government can even also make some policy statement that can help in that regard. Where, of course, but again, it's not going to be easy. At the last count yesterday, I realized that we have over 309 universities in Nigeria. About 166 or thereabout, private universities, 74, federal universities, 69, state universities. Too many.
They can start solving problems of their local governments where they are.
Too many. So that's really where the issues about funding really is a big problem, because all of us can't be actually university graduates, and I think that must be settled. And the way Nigerians think that literacy has to be, everybody must be a graduate, I think that idea should stop. And we must begin to think conceptually to see what exactly are the problem that we need to solve and who should be at the forefront of solving that problem. So we can actually put a handful of intelligences who are going to be looking at the problems in their faces, because we don't have enough space. You imagine, for example, only Yabatech want to take off students who are doing computer science to get into fintech around here. The place will be overflooded. So these are the issues that actually also confront us, because we are planting too many schools at the same time, and we are really not looking at solving societal problem. Now, if research is about solving problem, therefore we must be looking at where the problems are and see how we can use the institutions around to define some of all these things. Yesterday, when we were speaking with the guests on the show in the morning, one of the issues I asked him was the fact that, yes, people talk about, encourage local, but we're not talking about the level of competitiveness. How are we going to begin to see that, for example, you are producing rice in Nigeria, and you can only get 100 bags in 1 acre, and then the same person who is producing that same rice in Thailand can get 1,600 bags in 1 acre. So you use same energy to work on the same acre. So by the time you are going to have to sell, prices are not going to be the same. You definitely will be selling higher than the person who is bringing in, because it's about 100 times higher than yield than you are. But those yields are not just something that are accidental. They are things that are product of researches that we need to invest to see how do we develop and solve this problem, so that we can have grains that if you plant them today, like they say in Israel today, they call it precision agriculture, you can actually determine the kind of yield that you get from your farm.
Okay. While we are looking at this, we need to also start channeling this policy program, these policy papers to the appropriate quarters. We can't be doing a lot of mouth service alone. The president and this particular administration is coming up and saying, let's get productive. Now it's on our doorsteps. What are we going to do? Ogun State is building a refinery. Is the state getting the schools around there involved to train people to work as craftsmen? There. I'm not waiting for by the time the refinery now comes and now start looking for Indians as craftsmen.
I think we should invite the governor and ask him. He will be in a better position to answer that. I'm not in a better position to answer that.
Okay. Well, these are questions meant for every one of us because we need to be ready for the opportunities.
Yeah, but beyond the governor, is also people who are also taking advantage of the opportunities that are around you. That even the universities themselves must become very creative in terms of how they run and operate. That's why you see there's so much burden and complaint about government funding, government not funding. Government is not paying enough. Government. In short, I was talking to my friend in South Africa the other day, and he said to me, I said, why will a professor be complaining that he doesn't have money and government is not paying enough? So what's he doing?